Ready, give it to go. Terrence, you first. Accio. Good. Bailey.
Accio.
Very good. Luke.
Accio.
Wonderful. Now Gretchen.
Accio.
Excellent. Now all together on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Accio Hogwarts Radio. This is Hogwarts Radio, episode 234 for February 17th, 2019. Hogwarts Radio is the official podcast for Wizarding News, discussing all things Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts, and the rest of the Wizarding world. For the quickest up-to-date news on the franchise, make sure you check out wizarding.news. Hello, everyone, and this is Hogwarts Radio, broadcasting to Harry Potter fans worldwide since 2008. I'm Terrence Pinkston.
I'm Gretchen Rush.
I'm Tyler Starr.
And I'm Kelsey Cooper.
Our show can be found virtually anywhere online, such as iTunes, the Google Podcast app, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Radio Public, and other places where podcasts are aggregated. It doesn't matter where or how you listen, just make sure to tap the subscribe button and we guarantee you'll have a new episode each Sunday.
We also invite you to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram so you never miss an update from the show.
You can also send an owl to staff@hogwartsradio.com, letting us know what you think of the show. You never know, we might just read it on the next episode.
Don't forget, Hogwarts Radio is also on Patreon. By pledging, you'll have instant access to many benefits, including Into the Common Room, behind-the-scenes planning of the show, Hogshead Radio, and much more. Sign up today over at patreon.com/HogwartsRadio. Welcome to episode 234, and our family just keeps growing, and we couldn't be happier. We've got not one new addition to the panel, not 2 new additions to the panel, but 3. We said we were going to be bringing on a part-time host. Well, we have some wonderful, wonderful individuals joining us. Alex has accepted our offer to become a part-time host, and she will be on next week. As you remember, she was on last week's episode and did one hell of a job. So we're so pleased to welcome Alex Lohman. Let's go ahead and start with the panel today. You may know this guy. We know this guy. The whole world might know him for that matter. He says that nobody knows him, but his name is Tyler Starr, and we are bringing him on as a part-time host to the show. Hi, Tyler.
Hey, what's going on? I had such a great time the last time that I was here that when I saw that Hogwarts Radio was looking for another host, I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do it right now. I had such a good time, so I'm excited to be hanging out with y'all again.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Also, if you don't know, Tyler runs the Protego Foundation, and we'll talk about that here in just a bit with some of the new things that they have coming up. So, very exciting stuff. We're also joined by you. Well, you may know this individual. She's been on the show a few times. Her name is Kelsey Cooper, and we are also welcoming her as a part-time host to the show. Hi, Kelsey.
Hi, yay.
I know, and she's so excited because she has a new microphone. She got a new microphone for Christmas. Well, again, thank you so much for both of you for being on today. We've got a full show to get to, but for those of you that might have just picked up the show over the past couple of episodes, let's go ahead and re-intro our guests here. We'll start with Tyler. And Tyler, go ahead and give us your house. Let everybody know.
Yeah, I'm a proud Slytherin.
Okay, and your Ilvermorny house.
I got Pukwudgie, which I'm like many people, I'm still like, I don't know what that even means. But that's what I am.
Isn't that the equivalent to Hufflepuff?
You know, everybody says that and I roll with it. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll go with it. I think they're just trying to compare 2 silly sounding names.
What about your favorite character?
My favorite character, if you listen to the Chick Peeps, I mentioned this the last time I was on Hogwarts Radio, but if you listen to the Chick Peeps, my favorite character is the Dark Lord, Lord Voldemort. His story I found it so fascinating reading the books, and still to this day, I love learning about everything about him.
He even said it right, you guys. If you have to go back and replay that the last 20 seconds, he didn't say Voldemort. He said Voldemort.
That's right.
Yeah, the T
That's
is
right.
silent, in case nobody knew that. It's something
Thank
that
you, Terrence.
J.K. Rowling herself has said that she's had to make corrections a couple of times to some of the fans out there. Even whenever giving interviews, it's not Voldemort, it's Voldemort. The T is silent.
yeah.
So
One of my least favorite things is when I listen to the audiobooks, Jim Dale does a great job saying Voldemort in the first few books, but then as the movie started coming out, he starts saying Voldemort, and I'm just like, no, you had it right.
What about your favorite Potter book?
That is definitely Half-Blood Prince, just because I love learning, like I said, so much about Voldemort's history. Now with Half-Blood Prince, you learn so much, so always has been my favorite.
Favorite Potter movie?
Philosopher's Stone, definitely, because it's the one that I feel like has that most nostalgic magic.
What about your Patronus?
So I've taken this test 3 times because I accidentally took it the first time on my Pottermore side account.
Okay.
But the first time I got a Hawk, which I was super stoked on. And then the last time I got a Stout, which I was upset about because when I later reread the books, Hagrid serves or tries to serve the trio Stout sandwiches. And I was just like, Hagrid, what are you doing to my Patronus, my dude?
For somebody that's a care of magical creatures professor, a stout, well, I guess he doesn't really think a stout is all that magical, so he thinks it's okay to eat it. I don't know.
I could go on and on about Hagrid, Terrence, I tell you.
Well, we have a chance to talk about him here in just a bit, about his new ride, his new attraction.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get to Kelsey. Kelsey, what is your house?
I'm the opposite, I guess you could say, of Tyler. I am 100% a Gryffindor.
Ooh, nice
So.
dynamic so far. I'm loving it. I'm proud Gryffindor as well, so thank you. What about your Overmorning house?
I'm a Wampus. I don't know how to say a thing about these houses, but Panthers are cool. I'm hyped for it. Why not?
What about your favorite? Who's your favorite character?
Favorite character is I stand by. Real basic. That it's Harry Potter. I mean, he's the main character of the whole thing, and I've always liked his personality, his characteristics. I think he's overlooked by everyone who's going for like Luna Lovegood. Like, come on.
Well, yeah, I mean, since we do get the books from Harry's point of view, it's only natural to kind of like him. Although some people don't, and that's completely fine. But he's the character that you get the most out of. You learn the most about.
Yeah, and I've just always been like, yes, my boy Harry.
What about your favorite Potter book?
My favorite Potter book is probably Order of the Phoenix. And I don't know if I can give a full reason why. It could have to do with the fact that I was a bit older once I started reading that book, and it also was just Harry was no longer like the little kid, he's having fun at Hogwarts, no, there are some mean people. Now he's like, everyone sucks and I trust no one. And I don't know, I liked that whole change.
You like the angsty Harry.
Yeah, I liked the angsty Harry. I was also angsty. I was like, yeah, let's go. It's just stuck with me this whole time.
That's definitely a different book that we see the dynamic of Harry come out. He kind of flips that switch, that witch switch. Let's call it a witch switch, and becomes angsty. So yeah, I mean, good choice. What about your favorite Potter movie?
This is where I'm gonna have to agree with everyone in that it's the first one.
Okay.
Just because it is that introduction to everything, and they did it so well, and everything looked all like magical, and it's just once you're reading the books and everything and you get to see the movie finally, you're just really happy to see all that in person.
What about your Patronus?
According to Pottermore, my Patronus is a dun stallion, and I am so hyped for this. I thought it was going to be something like a snail or something, but no, I'm so happy it's a horse. So.
Now, since it's been a while since we've talked to both of you guys, I want to get your initial reactions to the Crimes of Grindelwald film.
I did not like this movie, Terrence. I'm gonna be straight with you. Did not like this film. I saw the first Fantastic Beasts film 7 times in theaters. I only saw this one 4. Just because what a mess. What a mess. I will say that.
Was it an overload of information? Is that what drew you away?
The best way that I can explain it is how I've kind of been telling people. J.K. Rowling took 15 like half-formed plot ideas to Warner Brothers and was like, okay, which ones do you want me to use for this upcoming film? And they were like, just smash them all together and let's make a movie.
Oh boy.
And it's just, I mean, if you want to know, like, if you want to see a perfect example of like a crowded plot, just look at the Crimes of Grindelwald like cast poster, where it's like 20 different people. It's just, no, I couldn't do it. I could not do it.
Really? Okay. What did you think of the first one?
I loved the first one. I thought it was exactly what was promised to us. We were promised a new kind of era, right? This whole thing that we were told was going to be kind of separate. And I was super stoked for it. And then now as we're progressing down, it's no longer Newt that's being the focus. Now it's all about the Dumbledore's history. And even Joe is saying in interviews, this is now Dumbledore's story. And that's not what we were promised. You know, when we first heard about this film and how Warner Brothers took the idea to J.K. Rowling and they were like, hey, we want to do like a faux nature documentary. And Joe was like, no, I have a better idea. When we got to that point, I was like, oh, thank God Joe is involved, because that would have been crazy. After watching Crimes of Grindelwald, I'm like, where's my nature documentary?
Well, okay, to be fair, this is it's a second movie. It's a sophomore movie, right? So it might be hitting that sophomore slump.
Right.
It's what is expected out of a second movie in a series. Yes, there's going to be all these holes, these questions that are left unanswered, and that's for the third, fourth, and fifth movie to clean up.
Sure.
And there's a lot of people, you know, mostly Slytherins. I'm not going to typecast you guys here, but mostly Slytherins. And Luke just joined our chat here, so I can see his face on camera here, and he's like, "Oh my God, what is he gonna say? What is he gonna say?" These particular people wanted all the answers and everything to be wrapped up in a nice bow and handed off to the next movie. It felt like that there was an overload of information, sure, and as we have had time the past couple of months to sit here and process it, I feel that. I feel better about it than what I initially did. I'm like, okay, there are answers that are going to be provided in movie 3. Then there's going to be more questions and more answers provided in movie 4, and so on and so forth. So I feel like everybody just needs to take a back seat and trust that J.K. Rowling is doing the right thing with this.
Terrence. I mean, I think my biggest problem is I get how people wanted like it tied up in a bow, but what I think this film does is it untied a lot of the bows that Harry Potter had. You know what I mean?
There were a lot of plot inconsistencies. Yes, absolutely. There were a lot of questions that were raised, like what the hell is McGonagall doing here? You know, for one, you know, that was unexpected. I mean, there were a couple more in there. I see where you're coming from. I totally get it. I just think we need to wait and see. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know.
But there were a lot of cool things. You know, I thought the Zou, of course, was a great Fantastic Beast, and we got to see a Kappa. So, of course, as somebody who runs the Protego Foundation, I'm always excited to meet new Fantastic Beasts. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, good. I'm glad that you found some good out of the movie that you disliked. Kelsey, what about you? What did you think?
I'm definitely not as angry as Tyler. But it wasn't exactly what I was hoping for, definitely. Because I'm going to definitely agree with what he said in that they promised us Newt Scamander does things for Harry Potter, and now it's like Dumbledore, the movie. And I prefer them to be a bit more separate. But I came into this with very low expectations after The Cursed Child, and I was like, listen, I am here for magical creatures and Eddie Redmayne looking cute. And I got all those things. So I was pretty angry in parts of it, especially the ending, because I saw it coming right in the first, like leading up to those lines. I was like, don't do it. Please do anything else. Say literally any other words. And then they said it, and I decided that I was going to pretend it didn't happen and then be like, look at the cool creatures, nifflers, woohoo. So,
you know, I do have to agree that this movie franchise has become more more of a Dumbledore. I'm not going to go as far as saying Dumbledore centric, but there's a lot of Dumbledore in it, and that may only be for these first two. For this second Crimes of Grindelwald film, and obviously for the third, now that Credence has been revealed to be a Dumbledore, I don't think we're quite done with Albus yet, and we won't be until movie 5, because ultimately we're going to see the duel between him and Grindelwald. I don't want them to forget about Newt. I don't want them to forget about this is Fantastic Beasts. This isn't, Dumbledore and Grindelwald.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the little textbook that they made that was like all the different charismatic creatures with Harry and Ron writing in it and stuff. I love that thing. I've always loved it. I used to draw the little animals from the descriptions they gave you and stuff. And I was so excited to see Newt Scamander just scooting around being a little Hufflepuff with all his animal friends. But I'm holding on to faith that maybe they do something all right.
I mean, yeah, we're just gonna have to wait and see. Wait for the next movie and see. But I'm glad there's some diversity on the panel here, because I liked it. Luke absolutely loved it. Gretchen, I'm sure. I can't remember. Did you like it at all?
Yeah. You can't remember because I had very little feelings about it. I just love that Tyler didn't like it and still saw it 4 times, because I didn't like it and I still saw it once.
I mean, the first time I saw it, I went and saw it with a woman who runs the social media accounts for the Fantastic Beasts films. And when it got to the reveal for Credence, she was just looking at me the entire time, waiting for me, my reaction. And I was just sitting there. And then when it happened, I was like, what?
Yeah, that's
So I've been pretty vocal about how this is easily my favorite of all of the Harry Potter movies, not even close. Mainly because I dislike a lot of things about a lot of the movies, and this one just stands on its own. The first film in this franchise is very happy-go-lucky. It's fun. The stakes really aren't that high. It's a lot of interpersonal things, which set up the characters that we then, for lack of a better term, get tossed into real big problems in this story. So I think, personally, I think, there's a lot going on here, and there's a lot of confusing things of it's very crammed, and it's trying to do maybe too much at times. I do like that it's still intimately tied with the original series, because it should be. I mean, one, it's narratively easier. I mean, use characters that we already know. I agree, it's convenient, but at the same time, the magical world isn't that big. Every time we've seen it kind of expand out, it's still Quidditch World Cup. There's a lot of people, but it's still everybody. It never really seems as large as the real Muggle world. So, the whole thing, the world's not nearly as big as it seems like it could be. All these characters are still integral with the main hub of Wizard Society. So to me, it's not all that surprising that these main characters, pretty well-known author at this point in the story, because he already had the first edition of Fantastic Beasts come out, and we already know that he went to Hogwarts, and yes, he has this relationship with Dumbledore. So all of these events that are going on in the wizarding world at the time, to me, it's not a surprise that this small world, these characters that we have gotten to know, are being pulled into that larger wizarding world story.
And that's a great point to end that small discussion on right there. There's going to be more Crimes of Grindelwald discussion ahead. I promise. I swear there's, we've got another 2 years in between the films. So we're going to be talking a lot more about the Crimes of Grindelwald, where the series is headed, and what we want to see out of the wizarding world.
I actually have to bounce, but I wanted to drop in and say hello, friends, and I will see you guys next time.
All right, bye, Luke.
Bye.
So for now, let's get to this past week. We had 2 of our tweets really garner a lot of attention and responses from the Twitterverse. The first one was posted almost a week ago with the scene of the Weasley twins tossing their names into the Goblet of Fire and then immediately being turned into old men. And I captioned the tweet, well, at least they got to grow old together once, which is pretty bad. I know, I'm sorry. And people really flipped out. We got so many responses. People were not happy with that tweet. I did leave it up. I'm not going to delete it just because it is what it is. You know, it is canon that they did that, and it is canon one of them died. But this actually got me thinking, how soon is, quote, too soon? I did air quotes and hit my mic there. To mention character deaths. This is something I feel that the internet really needs to get over, and the entire culture in general of flipping out and being dramatic over every little character death needs to stop. Somebody tell me I'm wrong.
I don't want to say that you're wrong per se. I mean, as somebody whose favorite character is Voldemort and my favorite character has been responsible for a lot of these deaths, I liked the tweet that you guys sent out, and I retweeted it, and I was like, oof, you know, feelings. I felt it, but I loved the emotion that it brought out of me.
I mean, I feel like, okay, whenever people say too soon, for God's sake, the book has been out for like 11 years now. I mean, and it's been 11 years since Hedwig died, since we lost all those characters in Deathly Hallows. And it's been even longer for Sirius, and people are still hurting over that. And I'm kind of like, I see the quotes too soon, and I'm just like, you know what? It's not too soon. Like, get over it. Like, I mean, the joke of how long does an owl live? Anybody? 6.5 books.
You looked so excited, Tyler, too.
I was. I had no idea where he was going with it. I know. I walked right into that one.
Like that one, and people are like, oh my God, my heart. And I'm just like, stop it. Stop being overly dramatic about these character deaths. It's been too long. I don't know. Maybe I'm maybe I'm a grumpy old man. I don't know.
It's a mix. You're a grumpy old man, and they're being over dramatic. It's you know, all the above, and those are two fun things: being over dramatic and being a grumpy old man.
You crazy old kid, get off my podcast or something. Anyway, the second tweet was titled "Abracadabra" and featured an animated sequence with Voldemort and Harry. And Voldemort says, "Abracadabra," which turns Harry into a bunny. And Harry gets frustrated and says, "It's not abracadabra, you tosser. It's Avada Kedavra." And as he says that, he has his wand in his hand, and Voldemort blows up. And then bunny Harry goes, "Yes." It's cute. It's a really cute sequence. And up until a few days ago, we didn't know who the artist was until they reached out to us on Twitter. And they were like, "Yep, that's us. That's me. That's my work." And so we really like to give full credit to Dave Studolny of Studio Studios. If I'm butchering that, David, I'm so sorry. But we do want to give them full credit for creating it. There's actually 2 more hilarious short sequences in that full video. And the video itself is titled Harry Potter, Podder, Say the Magic Word. And these sequences are so funny. There's one of Harry in Deathly Hallows as he's looking through the frozen lake at the bottom at the sword of Gryffindor, right? And he goes, "Accio sword," right? And so the sword comes up and into his hand, but it in the process of hitting his hand, it slices his neck off. So that was pretty hilarious. And then the second one was whenever they're in the first year and Hermione is saying Wingardium Leviosa and she levitates the feather. Well, she also levitates a desk and it smashes her going up and then hits her going down. It was so cute. It's a very cute animated sequence. And I want you guys to take a look at that.
The first time I saw this, I fell in love with it because I've always wanted a Harry Potter cartoon. So we'll talk about this later on in the show, but keep that in mind when we get to the reboot stuff.
Okay. Also, does anybody know where J.K. Rowling is? Is she on vacation? Like, it's unsettling to me that she's been so active for so long on Twitter, and now she is virtually radio silent. I mean, she has not tweeted or retweeted since January 12th. And that's uncharacteristic of Jo. Maybe she just got fed up with everything. A lot of her posts were political. Or maybe she's working on something. Maybe she's just taking a break from the internet. But J.K. Rowling, if you're out there, I know if you're out there and if you're listening to us, which I don't think you are, but first of all, hi. But second of all, we hope that you're doing well. It's unsettling. Just really, It's kind of unnerving. I hope that she's okay. I'm sure she is.
I have some theories about this.
Ooh.
But
Tell me.
I think that since Warner Brothers pushed production time for the new Fantastic Beasts film to really make sure that everything is done well, I think Joe took a break from Twitter to like really make sure that she got this third one down, like as clear as it can be, because maybe, you know, it's hard to ignore the criticisms of the film. So I think maybe she's taken some time away so she can really focus on this third one.
Do you know something we don't know?
What? No.
Are you sure?
Yes, no, I know nothing, but that's my hint or my guess.
That's pretty good. I mean, that's a pretty good guess. Gretchen, what about you? Why do you think she's so quiet?
I don't know. I read a weird article today, and I didn't read all the details, but it was something about her starting a new political party. You know, she's really into politics. She's always tweeting about that. So she could be really busy starting her own political party. That, I guess, is a theory that's out there on the internet.
You didn't by chance read that from The Onion, did you?
I did not. Okay. This was a real news site.
Whoa. Well, then.
Yeah, we chose not to post that for MuggleNet because we didn't find it very reputable.
Okay. Well, I'm sure we'll hear from her soon. I mean, she can't stay radio silent forever, and I would like to think that she's working on the Fantastic Beasts 3 screenplay or just doing something that makes her happy. Well, since Tyler is now a host on the show, from time to time, we're going to check in with him on what he's doing over there at the Protego Foundation. So we're going to just insert segment here of the Protego Foundation update. So what are you guys doing over there, Tyler?
Wow. Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for throwing this in here. I didn't even ask, and I love it. But yeah, since the year just started, we just finalized our entire year-long campaign plans. The big thing that we're doing this year is that in April, we're launching our own Harry Potter kind of animal rights focused podcast where we're taking the thing that a lot of podcasts do of like rereading the series, but we're looking at it from a very specific animal rights lens and, you know, how we can take a lot of the lessons that are taught in the books for helping animals into the real world. So really excited about that. That'll be coming in April. And then we have some campaigns coming up around helping elephants, horses, mother cows, and owls, and hopefully some other animals. So it's going to be a really busy year.
Gosh, it sounds like it. It sounds like it. If you guys want to check out the Protego Foundation, Tyler, you guys are all over social media, and there's a website they can go to as well, right?
Oh, yeah. You can check us out. Our website is protegofoundation.org. And on all of our social media channels, we're just at Protego FDN.
All right, let's move on to the news for this week, because believe it or not, we're not halfway through the show.
Oh, boy.
So,
sorry, Gretchen.
So, Gretchen, what do we have going on in the news sphere this week?
We don't have too much exciting. There's an update about the coaster, which I feel like we talk about this coaster every week. The new Wizarding World coaster that's coming to Orlando. Orlando Park Stop has released what looks to be concept art for it, as well as a name for the ride. So we'll post a link to this in our show notes so that you can see the image for yourself. Basically looks like a lot of green, a lot of forest, as we previously believed. And there are some rumored names floating around. This author believes the accurate name is Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, which they also think will be shortened to Hagrid's Magical Creatures. Neither name is, I think, particularly good. I guess the ride's going to focus on magical creatures, but the motorbike part seems more relevant to me. I don't know. So did you guys look at this image? What do you think of this update?
You know, some of these, I'm looking at the concept art. I mean, of course, I've studied it before, but the concept art does coincide with what we're seeing from footage of like drone footage of construction, including that big structure that we originally thought was maybe like a part of Hogwarts or something like that, as we can see that clearly is not. But I mean, you mentioned, Gretchen, very green looking, and that's true. That's the thing that stands out the most to me. I can see a couple of dragons in this concept art. I'm not quite sure how I feel about this being Hagrid centric. While I do love Hagrid and he's a wonderful character, I honestly feel like this should have been some sort of a Fantastic Beasts ride, since that's the direction of the Wizarding World franchise right now.
Yeah, but I'm annoyed with Fantastic Beasts right now.
Well, I know. I mean, sure, half of the fandom is as well, but this is the direction that Warner Brothers is choosing to go in right now.
That's fair, but I feel like I can see why they'd make it Hagrid centric. What with some people are really on board with Fantastic Beasts, some people really aren't, and all the degrees in between. But everybody who comes to Universal Studios for Harry Potter rides is a huge fan of the actual original Harry Potter books, so they'll probably be able to get more excitement out of it from people with going based off of just Hagrid, I think.
I'm a little not excited about this just because this will be the third ride experience that Robbie Coltrane will be portraying Hagrid in. So he's in Forbidden Journey. He's on the Hogwarts Express going to Hogsmeade from Diagon Alley. And then this will be his third appearance where, if he is, if Robbie Coltrane does, don the beard again. But they seem to be kind of falling into this thing where, it's Hogwarts related. We have to get Robbie Coltrane in here. He's got to portray Hagrid. Let's go.
Yeah, it's almost like it's just I mean, we were talking last week about the end of Chamber of Secrets. It's not Hogwarts without you, Hagrid. So it almost seems like they're really taking that to heart. And I also think it kind of makes sense that it's not Fantastic Beasts just because it is Hogwarts. And we're not really, I mean, Newt's Suitcase could be a ride about creatures, but how do you kind of tie that into Hogwarts? They would almost need to create a separate location or have it at Diagon Alley, maybe. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure exactly how they tie that in, and they probably don't want to worry about that yet. They just want to fill in something quick and easy, like a Hagrid ride.
From what I've been told, the Fantastic Beasts franchise has to stay separate from the Wizarding World parks, aside from Globus Mundi. And that's where this fourth park is going to actually enable them to do something around Fantastic Beasts, because it's not directly tied into the other established parks. And that they did sell wands at Hogsmeade and Diagon Alley recently as a test to see what fan reception was, and that it went so well that it kind of made them feel better about the direction that they're heading.
See, and I don't know why they're thinking that it has to remain separate if they're going to brand it under the same Wizarding World franchise name. And they like to tie everything in. I don't see why they would want to keep it separate. Very interesting. And I'm looking at the I'm just kind of studying this concept art here. I really hope this track, this roller coaster ride is obviously you're gonna be in like either the side carriage or you're going to be riding in this kind of cart that's shaped like the motorcycle. I really hope this isn't just a ride like Flight of the Hippogriff, where it's just you go forwards and backwards. I want to go side to side. I want it to be like the Gringotts ride, where it kind of throws you side to side. It makes you seem like you're going upside down at points, and I just don't want another like ride. Like I want an experience as well.
I can agree with that. I want it to be way more exciting than the Hippogriff ride, which is fun. It's fun, but it's just like sitting in a cart and getting rolled down a hill, kind of.
Yeah, that's what I don't want to happen. I do want to be turned, twisted, thrown around.
I will say that I'm so excited for a ride that isn't a screen in front of you the whole time. And like the rumors are that this is like going to stop in certain dark rooms, which is going to be cool. But that most of it is like an actual moving roller coaster.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. Cool.
Awesome. So we've gotten more information about Cursed Child in San Francisco. It will begin performances at the Current Theater on October 23rd, with the official opening night taking place December 1st. Tickets are not on sale yet. They will go on sale March 14th at 11 a.m., so save that date. And as usual, you can sign up on the Cursed Child website to get priority access to purchase pre-sale tickets. And that registration is open now and will close on March 3rd. So you want to make sure that if you are trying to get tickets quickly, you get yourself into that pre-sale registration access.
Yeah, we all know how that went with New York.
Yeah, get in now, guys.
That went very smooth, by the way. Thanks.
I'm really excited because this is like in my backyard since I live in the Bay Area, and I've been waiting to see this. I was going to go see it in New York in March, but when they announced that it was coming to San Francisco, I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to wait just one more month so I can just see it here. So I'm really excited about that.
So you haven't seen it yet, correct?
No. I've read the script 8 times, and it's, we could go on and on about it, but from everybody that I've heard, when you see it, you forget about the plot points. So I'm like, okay, great. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's a different kind of experience from what I understand. I have yet to see it myself. But what I'm kind of wondering is, with so many changes in cast members, is it really hard to follow the story the way that it was intended? Actors are just, in fact, artists that interpret the bit of work. They interpret the story. I wonder if you see this one in San Francisco and you see the one in New York, how close it's going to be. You guys know what I'm saying with that? I mean, obviously the production, from a production standpoint, it's going to be the same. But the way that the characters are interpreted according to the actors and actresses, I'm just kind of wondering if that's going to be different.
Yeah. I'm hoping that they kind of do like what they did with like Broadway, where they brought over the UK actors, and then they're just going to go from, New York to here and have that be the start. I think that'd be cool. Because then you kind of keep that fluidity, you keep that same kind of like momentum that they've been building up somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
That would be very cool. I would be very surprised if that happened. But that would be cool. I think it's going to be like anything, you see, they just did Rent live. I've seen Rent like a billion times, right? But every time you see it, you get immersed into the show again because the actors are bringing those characters to life through their interpretation. So I think, like you're saying, it will be a bit different, but I think we're still going to see the show as it's intended. We're going to see the characters they've created. I mean, it's not Daniel Radcliffe, so you're already seeing a different interpretation of Harry. And I think that if they can't pull that off, I would be shocked.
Mm-hmm. What else we got, Gretchen?
Next one is just a shout out. So we've been talking a bit about Daniel Radcliffe's new show on TBS, Miracle Workers, and they have posted that first episode online. So if you want to watch it, we're going to put the link in the show notes so you can check it out. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm planning on it.
Yeah, neither have I. I'm interested to see what it's all about.
I hope it's funny.
It looks really funny.
It looks funny.
Yeah.
I'm sure with Dan, it'll be very funny.
It's got to be good. So we'll all check back in after we've seen it. And speaking of Dan, he thinks it is only a matter of time before someone reboots the Harry Potter franchise. He did an interview, and we've got a couple quotes from that. He said, "I'm sure there will be some other version of it. I know I'm not the last Harry Potter I'm going to see in my lifetime. We've already got a few more." Referring, of course, to, like we were saying, the cursed child actors. He said, "It will be interesting to see how long those films stay. It feels like there's a sacredness around them at the moment, but that'll go. The shine will wear off at some point." He laughed. "It'll be interesting if they reboot them and just do the films again or do a series. I'm fascinated to watch. I feel like there are other stories from that world that you could absolutely turn into a TV series, 100%. A series with the older generation, that could be very cool." So he thinks we're definitely getting maybe a reboot. We might get a Marauder series, and he's excited about it. I like how he says he's fascinated to watch. I think it's really sweet that he's ready for it and he's willing to support it.
I'm convinced Dan listened to our episode last week whenever he said this, where we talked about the kind of different like things that we would like to see out of a possible new Potter story or a new Wizarding World show or a movie. I'm convinced. Dan, I'm going to call it right now, guys. Dan he plugged in his headphones while he was out for his morning run, listened to some Hogwarts radio.
All right. Well, then, hi, Daniel Radcliffe. How's it going?
Yeah, he's right now. Meet us, Dan, on that Twitter you don't have.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so I'm interested, Tyler. You put here in the show document you'd like to see an animated series.
Yeah, I mean, ever since I was a kid, I've wanted to see a Harry Potter cartoon, and it would be. I think it would be super fun, super exciting to see it animated, because I think it would give a lot of fluidity and a lot of openness to be able to do a lot of book focused stuff that they can't do IRL or, with live action. I think it would be really cool. And in that style that we were talking about earlier, where he does the abracadabra thing, it would be so cool to see it like that. I think it would be super fun, and I would watch the heck out of it.
Now, are you talking about animated series like Pixar animated or like hand drawn?
I would say hand drawn. I think hand drawn. Yeah, I don't think it would do well as like a Pixar kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Be interesting. Kelsey, what do you think? Would you like to see an animated series? Would you be excited for a reboot of the films?
I'm scared. I'm not sure. I don't really like reboots too much. I know that he was saying, or Gretchen was saying, that they could end up doing a TV show of the older generation or something like that. And I have always held a deep love for the Marauders, and to see anything that they could do with them, especially because we have part of their story that you're excited to like see in action, but there's also so much that you don't know about them that you really wish you could, everything like that. I would love to see something like that in any format. Really, I can agree with Tyler in that a cartoon sounds kind of fun. It all depends on if they do it well or not, because I'll be very upset if they end up like taking something that could have been really, really cool and just trashing it.
Getting back to Dan's comments here, I'm sure he'd be really excited for somebody else to play Harry. He's like, hey, you know what? I wouldn't be the only one. People stop calling me Harry, and focus on somebody else. So it's natural for him to be excited about that. And even as an artist, as an actor, I'm sure that he's excited for that, because there's different ways that they can now take the franchise. If they do decide to reboot it, they can put it as a TV show with several seasons and don't have to make it 7 movies long, and they have time to expand on plot points and things like that. But we talked about all this on last week's episode. If you haven't caught up with that yet, go ahead and do so. Episode 233, where we kind of break it all down, and it has some very interesting viewpoints on what they could turn into a series or a new movie franchise.
Especially with the Warner Media streaming service that's coming out.
Yeah, big time.
That would be huge.
Yeah,
huge. And we know that they still have Quidditch Through the Ages and the Tales of Beat of the Bars rights. So,
well, we're waiting for J.K. Rowling to write 5 more movies about those.
All right, and our last bit of news comes from the iTunes Twitter, a surprising source. They tweeted out a clip of a deleted scene from Crimes of Grindelwald. So it is that scene that we saw in the trailer of Lita dressed up at a ball, and it starts with someone whispering to her. I couldn't tell who it was, but it starts with a man whispering to her saying, "Congratulations, Lita, your brother's alive." And then a dancer dances and things spin in the air, and then it's that very similar shot that we see throughout the movie of what looks like rags and her Bogart, and that's the whole clip. So I think they cut it. My guess is they cut it because it was just another instance of her being reminded of her brother and the Bogart, and maybe it's a dream sequence, it seems like, because I don't know why anyone would say congratulations, your brother's alive to her in real life. So what do you guys think about this clip?
Again, very interesting source coming directly from iTunes and instead of Warner Brothers. But hey, I guess because it is already, by the time this episode comes out, it would have been out for 2 days on iTunes in digital format, and we do get deleted scenes out of that. But I don't know. I'm gonna have to watch it like in kind of with all the deleted scenes together, just to kind of get the context of how this could have fit in, why did they cut it out, kind of thing.
Yeah, when I first saw it, the human who whispers to Lita that her brother's alive, that guy is one of the unnamed cronies for Grindelwald. You see him when they go into like their new headquarters kind of thing.
Oh, mm-hmm.
He's one of the people who helps carry out one of the caskets. And this is another like problem that I kind of had with Crimes of Grindelwald. There are so many like little plot points where you miss Grindelwald's like amazing ability to string people along, because it took me until the third time until I realized that Grindelwald is the one who tells Credence that like where to find his mother, Mm-hmm. And so there's so many things that I'm like, and this is probably one of them, where it's Grindelwald kind of dropping the hints that leads Lita to where she, has to find out.
Tyler, I love your pronunciations of everything. So they're so accurate. Grindelwald, Voldemort.
It doesn't help that Grindelwald is my second favorite character, but yes. Vold.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing. All right. Well, Gretchen, is that it?
That is it for the news this week.
Okay. Let's get to a few announcements. We kindly ask that you leave us a review on iTunes and a rating to let other Harry Potter fans know that you enjoy our show or what you don't like about our show. You know, whenever I go to shop for new products online, whenever I go to listen to new podcasts, I look for the shows and the products with the good ratings. And that's how I determine, oh, this is a good product to buy or this is something good to try out. So please go ahead and leave us an honest review over at iTunes and click the stars as well. We enjoy 5-star reviews, but of course, we do ask that you guys, put what you honestly think, what you honestly feel. And our last announcement is we are only one patron away from our next goal. That's it, guys. One patron. One more person. Our next goal is longer episodes. So instead of getting just an hour of Hogwarts Radio each week, we're going to increase our runtime to an hour and a half. This gives you more discussion, more fun, and more of your favorite hosts. Can you help us get there? Sign up today over at patreon.com/Hogwarts Radio. Just one more person, guys. Okay, let's talk a couple of questions this week as I was perusing through Reddit as I do. There were a few things that really caught my eye. Reddit is in discussion week right now, so people are talking about different aspects of the series. And without kind of sounding repetitive, I like to go through them just to kind of get ideas for discussion topics for the podcast. Ran across one today that said Avada Kedavra is actually a humane spell. If you really think about it, let me explain. It's painless, and according to Sirius, it's just like falling asleep. It's interesting that no good guys ever use the spell and use stunning spells instead in situations where the bad guys use lethal force. Harry used the other 2 Unforgivables, and I wonder if the Aurors use this spell at all when they need to. What are your thoughts about this?
I like this because I 100% agree. Avada Kedavra is like the quickest way to kill somebody. It does seem like it doesn't hurt. You don't feel any pain. You're done. Some people don't even notice that it happens. I do think it is the most humane way to die because there are some awful other ways. Like you could be imperioed and drown yourself. Very scary. Throw yourself in a fire. Oh my God. There are some awful ways to die in the wizarding world, but I don't think that Avada Kedavra is the worst one.
We saw Neville's parents go crazy because of the Cruciatus curse, but I'm betting that could kill you.
Very, very horrible way to go with the Cruciatus curse. That's just kind of one of the worst ways to go, other than what Tyler said is being imperioed and forcing yourself to kill yourself.
This is an unforgivable curse, meaning it's illegal. So I'm thinking the parallel to the Muggle world is like guns and killing people with guns. So killing someone with a gun is illegal, but soldiers kill people with guns, and that's not illegal because they're fighting. So to go back to Terrence's point, he's wondering if Aurors used the spell. I feel like they would be allowed to in times of war. You're telling me that no one during either the Wizarding Wars or with Grindelwald used Avada Kedavra and didn't get away with it? I just can't imagine that everyone's just going around disarming the bad guys and that's working, and I'm more making an argument than saying that I support violence or killing people. I just am very curious as to the practicalities of the one spell that kills people being illegal.
Mm-hmm. And we do know that MACUSA Aurors had a curse to kill policy in the 1920s whenever they came across just magical creatures in general. So we do know that at least when it comes to wild beasts, they were given permission to kill on command. Whether that was with Avada Kedavra or not, I don't know, but I don't know of another killing curse. So
right.
So to the person that cast the curse, doesn't J.K. Rowling say that like kind of damages that person, like taking away a life really damages your soul?
Yeah, I assume it's in the same way that killing a person in the Muggle world damages your soul.
But yeah,
whether in self-defense or in any malicious way, killing somebody is going to have that same kind of like traumatic feeling and traumatic experience for you. So I could see how, yes, you may be doing it for the quote greater good. You're still going to have your soul ripped apart.
Is that why you think that in Fantastic Beasts 1, where they're in the Ministry of Magic in the United States, they're in that that room, and they have that thing, whatever it was. I can't remember. My mind's a little fuzzy, and I don't ever think we actually got a name for it. But you were given they put a spell on you, made you sit in this chair, and it consumed you. This floor or this thing.
Yeah, that was gonna kill them. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I wish that we would have gotten a little bit more about that whole execution process. But from what we've been able to piece together, they take one of your happiest memories, throw it in the pensieve like thing that you're supposed to want to fall into, and then that is what like ultimately kills you. Otherwise, if it takes too long, it just starts to engulf you anyway.
So we know that
still seems worse, though. Like, that still seems worse to me than the Avada Kedavra. Because, I mean, there's also the chance that either way, I guess their point was like, you're not scared when you're going to die. You're having your happy thought. But up until they take your happy thought and put it in you, you're scared you're going to die. You know that's what's coming, especially if you have some sort of trial beforehand. You've got all this other stuff. Avada Kedavra has not worked once. It's only once has it messed up, but there are multiple steps to this, and if any part of that messes up, be it doesn't kill them or the happy memory doesn't work, and now they're just terrified as they're getting eaten by weird water, that just seems so much worse and so much. It's just like a really extra dramatic way of killing people.
You know, I wonder if they go through these like extreme roundabout ways in order to preserve their own like soul, you know?
Yeah,
probably.
Like that's exactly my point. Like if you do a Avada Kedavra that damages your soul, well, you don't want your soul damaged, but you do want this person to die for whatever crime they committed. So we know what that looks like in the United States. In MACUSA, we don't even know what that looks like in the UK Ministry of Magic, and I'm going to wager a guess that this is what the veil was used for in the Department of Mysteries. Maybe it was used as some form of capital punishment. I mean, it was kind of in this round chamber, almost kind of like stadium seating, where people might be able to view this death. It's very interesting. We know very little about capital punishment in the UK, but great point, Tyler. Let's talk about another thing that involves death. Here. Let's talk about, let me give you guys a choice here. You can only bring back one of these characters. Sirius Black, Severus Snape, Albus Dumbledore, Hedwig, Dobby, Fred Weasley, Nymphadora Tonks, Cedric Diggory, or Remus Lupin. This is like a death episode. This should be like stuff saved for episode 666. But
everything's so sad again. We were happy. We were talking about creatures and everything, and then you bring us back down, Terrence.
I'm sorry. But okay, so I'll kick it off. Fred. I mean, he was. I wish we could bring back Fred. It was such a senseless death. It was a useless death. The Weasley family has already sacrificed and endured so much. Not to mention like what they had gone through in the series with Mr. Weasley in Book 5, and various situations that Harry and Ron have been in, that the ultimate sacrifice of one of their children seems unforgivable.
Fred is probably who I would pick. I couldn't really decide between Fred or Tonks or Lupin, because I hate that Teddy is an orphan. That makes me real sad. But I also hate that Fred is dead because he was very young. But also, you left Colin Creevey off this list, and he was even younger. Well, I'm sad.
Nobody cares about Colin Creevey. I'm totally kidding.
Not true. I picked Colin Creevey. Forget your list.
There you go, Gretch. There you go.
Oh my goodness! You're gonna be like something. Oh, Karkaroff! It was such a senseless death.
Didn't he die?
He did. Yeah, he was killed by Death Eaters.
I didn't even know that. I don't care.
Yeah.
The real answer is Peter Pettigrew, because he was the most honest and kind person in the whole series.
How dare you?
Wow.
That's a hot take.
Okay, well, the list keeps growing, so let's just kind of keep it to what we already have.
Yeah, kidding. No, but I'm gonna mostly agree with Gretchen for Lupin or Tonks, which I'm very sad about Fred, and Cedric was also very young. Dobby was sad and all that. Most of the adults, I feel like I don't like. You feel worse for the kids because you're like, they're children. No, but I can't get over that Tonks and Lupin have a kid, and now that kid doesn't have either of their parents, and it's like one of them. So I'd probably go with Lupin just because of my love for Lupin as a person, but this is a very terrible question, and I will never forgive you, Terrence.
Boy, I'm just racking them up. Twitter, the show, everything this week. Goodness gracious. Tyler, you have some interesting thoughts about this one.
Yeah, when I was thinking about this, I tried to think about who I cried about when they died, and only 2 of the characters listed I actually cried for. One was Fred, of course. I was just a mess, both in the book and in the movie theater. Like midnight, I'm holding my girlfriend's hand and just tears running down my face. But then the other one was Dobby. Dobby, his death always gets me because to me, Dobby is so innocent, so pure, so just the embodiment of good. And the way that he dies at the hands of one of the most evil characters, I thought was poetic and beautiful, but also just so crippling and sad that I always get a little choked up whenever I reread that part.
Dobby's death always makes me cry. If it's the book or the movie, I hate that so much.
I just keep a clip of Dobby's death on my phone in case I need to cry, get out of a certain situation. Like I speed, I get a ticket, I put it on real quick, by the time the officer gets to the window, I'm crying, bawling my eyes out.
He's like, sir, I'm going to give you 2 tickets now.
Yeah, pretty much. Dobby's death was a difficult one. Hedwig, I mean, it was the first death that we were exposed to in book 7. I'm sorry, not the first death. The first death that was connected to Harry intimately, that we had experienced in book 7. Yeah, it was horrible. It was that death. It was that death that you were like, oh my God, book 7 is going to be a bloodbath, right? Because Charity Burbage just got eaten by Nagini. And then Hedwig dies and, a couple chapters later. And then we lose Alistair Moody and like kind of like our whole world is spinning around at that point. So I didn't cry for Sirius at all. Snape.
I did.
Snape, I did. Just because of his memories and stuff like that and how he did it. And whenever he found Lily... And oh my God, I'm tearing up thinking about it, so I got to stop thinking about it. All right, let's move to another segment we have here. It's called 2 Truths and a Lie, and it's exactly how it sounds. So I'll go ahead and kick it off. I now own 36 Harry Potter Pop Funkos. Albus Dumbledore is my least favorite character from the series, and Newt Scamander really bothers me. Which one is the lie?
36. But last year you had 37.
Well, some of them are a bit bigger than this year. I'm holding up the Harry one.
God. Is this going to be one of those 2 truths and a lies where it's not 36, but it's like 34?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be
Oh,
like
God. I actually don't know how many I have.
Oh, come on. I was really holding out for you. I was so excited that you had like 1 million of them. I only have like 2.
Same.
Disappointing.
So which one is the lie? Oh, that one's the lie. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
You just said
guys.
it. I was like, wait.
My bad. Okay.
It's that one.
I
Okay.
was looking for the trick question there.
Yeah, sorry. Anyway, okay, that's mine.
All right, I will go. So I've been talking a lot on the show about this Hogwarts and Hogsmeade set that my mom got me for Christmas and has been steadily arriving since November. So here are my 3 things related to that. I got my Hogwarts castle over the weekend. My mom thinks another piece is still coming, and it's February. And I still haven't found a place to put this beautiful Hogsmeade Hogwarts set.
You didn't get your Hogwarts castle over the weekend. That's the lie.
I think the lie is you don't know where to put it yet.
Kelsey?
Trick question. None of the above. You've done all of it.
All truths, no
stressed.
lie.
Tyler was correct. I do have a place to put it, and it's perfect, and it's adorable, and I love it so much. My dad brought the Hogwarts over the weekend when he came, and she's like, they took another deposit out of my bank account. I think a fourth thing is coming. She has no idea what she ordered. It's hilarious. So hopefully the Hogwarts Express shows up or something. But
Aw. Okay.
Nice.
Tyler,
Okay,
what about you?
Okay, so I fly to Orlando 4 times a year just for Wizarding World. Gilderoy Lockhart is my third favorite character, and the Rune Spore is my favorite magical creature, which is the lie.
I am horrible at this, so I'm going to go with the Rune Spore is not your favorite magical creature. I mean, I'm saying, yeah, that's the lie.
Kelsey, Greg?
I think Lockhart is not your third favorite character.
I'm gonna say the first one's the lie because you've got Voldy as your favorite, so someone like Gilderoy Lockhart could totally be your third.
True story.
The lie is the Rune Spore. I do not like the Rune Spore at all.
I got
Really?
one right. Oh my god.
Yay, Terrence. Yeah, I fly
I'm
4
so
times a
proud.
year just to Orlando for Wizarding World and Gilderoy Lockhart. He's actually my next Harry Potter tattoo.
Ooh.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So can
And I
I
have Mary and Pray sign
About that.
like underneath the chapter artwork for Flourish and Blots in Chamber of Secrets.
Oh my gosh.
When I met her, she was like, I was like, hey, I'm gonna get your signature tattooed. Can you do like your full signature? And she was like, yeah, sure. And she looked at me, she was like, wait, you're going to get my name tattooed on you? I was like, yep, right underneath this artwork. And she was like, awesome. And then so she just did like this big flourish Gilderoy Lockhart like signature.
That's
Aw,
awesome.
that
That's
is
so cool. I love it.
beautiful. Wow. Okay, so Kelsey, yours.
All right. I don't know if I did this before. I'm bad at this game and I don't remember what I did the first time. So hopefully y'all don't either. I met my boyfriend on the Quidditch team at the college I attend. I just recently, as of like a couple weeks ago, changed my major to archaeology. And I know the first part of The Philosopher's Stone by heart.
I'm
The
gonna
book or the movie?
The book.
The book. That's believable.
Same.
I'm gonna go
I
with
don't
your.
think you're an archaeology major.
Yeah, that's the same thing I was gonna go with.
I don't think you met your boyfriend on the Quidditch team.
Okay, the other two are correct. I just changed it to English, actually.
Ooh,
Congrats.
Yeah,
awesome.
What
but I
team did you
am
play
on
for?
the archaeology club. What?
What Quidditch team did you play for?
Oh, I'm a UNCG. We have our own Quidditch team.
Well, I started the first ever Quidditch team in the state of Colorado at the University of
Oh,
Northern
nice.
Colorado, also UNC.
Oh, hey, cool.
Nice. That's awesome. Well, guys, we have had a lot of fun this week. And as always, we want to thank everybody for listening in and our patrons for joining us for this raw recording. They get to hear the full unedited version. And if you'd like to join us for each recording of Hogwarts Radio, don't forget to sign up over at Patreon for additional bonus content. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, I'm Terrence Pinkston,
I'm Gretchen Rush.
I'm Tyler Starr.
And I'm Kelsey Cooper.
and we'll see you next time for episode 235. Bye-bye.
That was bloody brilliant.
Codswallop.